Kail Lowry today, who is mainly known from Teen Mom, and she went on to start her own businesses with podcasts. She's very successful. We're going to be talking about her today because she came out on a podcast talking about something that I thought was very interesting. Basically, taking like accountability for creating broken homes, for her children. I mean, if you keep up with Kail, you know that she has 7 kids, 4 baby daddies, and she's not with any of the men. She's not with any of them, right? So, Kail Lowry speaks out about this on a recent episode of Coffee Convos. In the episode, she opens up basically saying that something's been weighing on her for the past week or two. We're going to listen to it. We're going to listen to what she says because I have a lot of thoughts on this, right? If you're a mom, right? If you're a mom yourself, can you even imagine how it would feel to have 7 kids and not be with any of their dads? I have 6 kids. 4 of them are by my husband. We're still together. And then my older 2, I'm not with their dad. And I felt so much guilt. I still feel guilt to this day. When I see like my daughter exhibiting like daddy issues, where like she exhibits something where I'm like, I know that's from not having a dad in her life. So I'm like, I couldn't imagine having 7 kids not being with any of their dads. First off, I have to tell you guys, I literally recorded the clip, edited it down to where it was just Kail talking, and somehow it deleted. That's the second time today that I worked on something for like 20, 30 minutes and then it deleted. I don't know what's going on with my life today. So rather than listening to it edited, we're going to just play it on the podcast link because I don't have the edited version. So I know, right? She's just now realizing it. I mean, she said it's been weighing heavy on her for the past week or two. So I don't know if it's something she just noticed, but we're gonna listen to it because she's basically talking about kind of, I guess, the same with what I was saying, like seeing the issues that it's caused her kids to be raised in a house to where they don't have that other parent and how it affects them, how it affects her. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna listen to it. Also on the edited version, I increased the audio, but we don't have that version. I don't know where it went. It just faded into the oblivion, I guess, because it disappeared. But we're going to start right here at the 30-minute mark where Kail starts talking about everything kind of weighing on her. Okay.
You said something about like, we're not together in the first place. Like, that's bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that has been on my mind for the past, I would say, like week or so, maybe like 2 weeks, is that you and someone else that I know, they sort of like, we'll call it learned the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat here and literally created 4 broken homes. And that's been something that I've been struggling with for the past like week or 2 weeks. Cause I'm like, um, in a different way, like obviously I've always known that I have 4 baby dads, right? Like that's something that
Mm-hmm.
we can't ignore. But I never looked at it in a way that's like, I created this. It's like I did that. I didn't learn the first time, the second time, the third time, or the fourth time.
Do you feel like, I already know the answer to this, but I have to ask, would you do it any differently if you could go back and redo it?
Well, see, that is a hard question to answer because
Yep.
I don't regret my children.
Yep.
I don't regret any of them. I don't regret having 7 of them. I don't regret any of them in any way, shape, or form. I think the only way for me to answer this in the way that I hope comes out the way that I mean it is that I had no business having any children with Chris and truly no business having any children with Elijah either. So
That's interesting for her to say that she had no business having any kids with Chris and she had no business having any kids with Elijah. I mean, Joe was like her first love, 16, whoops. She was married to Hobby. That's interesting to hear her say that she has that. Obviously, she don't, when you say something like that, it almost gives people the like, oh, wait, are you regretting your kids? But she was quick to say, like, I don't regret any of my kids. So this is hard for me to discuss or hard for me to say things because I don't want people to get it twisted that I regret any of my kids because I don't. But she's literally saying, I had no business having any kids with Chris or Elijah. And she really didn't. She got pregnant by them so quick.
I think that at the point that I was married and divorced and then got pregnant right away, I had no business doing that. Like I should have waited until I knew that I was in a secure relationship, got married again if I wanted to do that, and then continue to have children. Like I almost cannot believe that I did this. Does that make sense? Like I don't
No,
know
it
if it
makes
makes
It makes so much sense, and I think I very much understand what you're saying when you say you don't regret any of your kids, but you might regret certain situations.
Yeah. Like I made my life harder, their life harder. But I think like during that time, like I just wanted a family and I just wanted to be loved and I wanted to be a wife and I wanted to be all of those things. And I think I was living in this like I was like over romanticizing the Chris situation. And then I do think that maybe the situation with Elijah would have turned out differently if certain things didn't occur. But I've been really thinking about that. It's like, but I also look back and I'm like, but I got married and divorced. And then I was in a relationship where someone was saying something to me and then didn't follow through. So was it like the both of us fucked up, not just me or just him? I wish that the kid was immaculate conception, actually. But the craziest part of it all is I had secondary infertility after Lincoln was born, which is the whole reason why I got surgery and everything else. It's so frustrating. Was like,
wait, you got surgery?
well, I had the mommy makeover
The mommy makeover, yeah.
Shout out to Dr. Amobi. He looked at me dead in the face and was like, Kail, there are people in their 40s trying to get pregnant for their first time, and you have 2 healthy children, 2 healthy boys. Like, if you don't get pregnant, like, basically be happy with what you got. And at that time, I was like, yeah, you're fucking right. Like, you're right. And I listened to him, and I got this. He didn't tell me to go get the surgery, but he was basically like, be happy with what you have. And I respected him then. I still respect him for saying it. But how do I go from secondary infertility, back-to-back miscarriages to 5 more children?
You know what?
That's
I don't
crazy.
know.
How does that happen? I didn't even want kids, Lindsay.
No, I know, which is the wildest thing. Somebody did not want kids that like just had 7.
What would I be doing with my life without my children?
I mean, at this point, I don't know, and I couldn't even imagine it. So I'm not even going to try to guess like hypotheticals of what you would be doing. But back to what you were saying. So you feel a sense of guilt for creating those situations and then not being together with any of them.
Like, this is going to sound fucked up. Like, if I could have all of my children by a donor, like the same exact children, because I love having all my, like, I don't regret any of them. I don't regret how many of them. I don't regret any of it. It's stressful, chaotic, and all of the things, but I literally thrive in it. I don't know. I just wish that I didn't create, because if it was a donor, for example, there would be no broken homes, right? Like they wouldn't know any different.
The thing about that is I'm like very much into like understanding things and like why people do the things that they do. Being a child from a broken home comes with its own trauma, but also being a child from a donor comes with its trauma as well. So it's really like you're trading one for the other. If you have a kid from a broken home that they get to see their dad, they get to see their other side of their family, they get to know them, they know that biology versus, yeah, they don't have the disappointment of maybe having like a less than dad. Dad's still there, but they're not as great as their siblings' dad. Versus not knowing their dad at all and not knowing if they have siblings out there. So I don't know. Like each situation comes with their own traumas and issues. So, but for Kail, I think she's saying like she wouldn't have to worry with the other parent if she had a donor.
Other than my home. So I just feel like in that way, like that makes sense. But like I actually created like literal broken homes. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but literally 4 times.
Do you feel like you have a hard time sharing them?
Yes. Like, and what's fucked up about that is it's also nuanced, right? Like now that I have Lincoln, Lux, and Creed virtually full-time, okay? Like we're mostly full-time. There are some, like this coming weekend, I don't have any of my kids. And so like that is a break that I desperately need, but it's also not enough because it literally ends up being, I want to say like 36 hours of child-free time. I used to say I have the best of both worlds because I would have the kids and then they would go to their dads and they were happy over there. But as time is going on, some of them are not happy going over to their dad's house, and that stresses me out. I don't know. Like, I don't think that anyone could have prepared me for all of this. And obviously it's years later, right? Like Creed's 5. It's been 5 years since at minimum 5 years since I've been with Chris. It's been more than that. But Like they know, and I'm only just now seeing the effects of it, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And I will say that, and I'm only speaking about my specific scenario, so please don't talk in the comments about how, you know, your situation is, it's good for you guys. I'm happy for you, but 50-50, the older they get, doesn't work for us. Like for
Mhm.
Elliot himself, who's about to be 16 years old in a month, 50-50 is not ideal.
I found that as well. As the kids get older, they no longer want to go to the other parent's house as much. They want to hang out with their friends. And if they're more comfortable at mom's house because that's where they spend the majority of their time, then like that's where they view as home. And dad's house is like a obligation almost. And it's like, I don't want to go because I want to go to my friend's house. You know what I'm saying? So I do get that. These are all things Kail obviously did not consider, did not think of, which most parents don't. And she has it times 7. She doesn't have it times 1 or 2. She has it times 7.
He does not want to settle down at one of our houses and then get up a week later and have to go to the other. And he doesn't, he's texting me when he's at his dad's saying, oh, I left my laptop, or, you know, a car is coming up,
Mhm.
right? Like, what does that look like if he has the car? That, you know, we don't see eye to eye on like the rules of the car and things like that. Like 50-50 doesn't work, but also the kids deserve to be with their, have the, I don't know, the whole thing. I don't think that anyone could have prepared me for it.
We'll stop there though, because she basically goes into all that she's dealing with now because she don't have one baby daddy to deal with. She ain't got 2 baby daddies to deal with. She ain't got 3 baby daddies to deal with. She's got 4 baby daddies to deal with, and she's seeing all the effects of, you know, kids getting older and not wanting to spend their time at the other parent's house, or getting older and wanting to go out, but the other parent don't want them to go out. So she's seeing like how it affects, you know, how all of this affects the kids, and obviously how hard it's going to be for her now to parent all the kids and have all these issues. So yeah, she's obviously caught on to the fact that while her home and while all the kids are there, it is, you know, their home. But essentially, she has created 4 broken homes for the rest of the kids, and it seems like she's realized the impact that it has. But I can't say that I'm shocked that Kail had so many kids and that she has had so many partners. And the reason why is when you look at Kail's childhood, okay? Honestly, this is one reason why I do always like applaud Kail is go back to her childhood. Like for anybody, and I know she's got 7 kids, 4 baby daddies, and not with any of them. So on the outside, it looks bad. It looks like, oh my God, get it together, girl, right? But when you look at her childhood, like Kail did not grow up with stability. She did not grow up with dependable parents. She did not grow up with emotional safety. You know, our parents are the people that's supposed to love us the most, make us feel secure, protected. She did not have that. She was the only child. Her dad wasn't in her life. Her mom struggled with alcoholism and would leave her home alone for days. Kail talked about in her book and on the podcast, you know, about having to get herself ready for school and go into the neighbor's house for food when she would get hungry because her mom would be gone 2 or 3 days at a time and there would be no food in the house. So she would have to go to her neighbor's house to find food or to ask for food. This is one reason why I'm always like, I understand like it's a bad situation to have so many kids, but I'm like, dude, Kail literally, she had it tough as a kid, which I think she is in therapy, which is the best she needs to be. Yeah, she got pregnant at 16, moved in with her boyfriend because, you know, her mom and her mom's boyfriend didn't like her, didn't want her there. Her mom had already caused her so much trauma by the time she reached 16 years old. After her and Joe broke up, she talked about being homeless at times, that there were times it was her time to have Isaac or Elliot, but she would call Joe and be like, "Hey, do you want him to get him tonight?" Because she would be sleeping in her car that night. She talks about being on welfare. So she raised herself in survival mode. She raised herself, first off, and she raised herself in survival mode. So in the podcast, she said she didn't even want kids at first, which I thought was interesting, but it kind of tracks for someone who grew up the way that she did, right? I feel like when you grow up that way, that's kind of probably your mindset. Like, you know, I'm not even going to have kids because I don't want to put my kids through anything I had to go through. But maybe subconsciously, you end up having so many kids because you don't want to be alone, right? So, yeah, like when we're raised in a chaotic home, especially by a parent who struggled with addiction, you you develop a fear of becoming that parent. I think it's either you feel like, oh gosh, will I become that parent, or I'm going to be so completely opposite of that parent. I have two best friends, and they're siblings, right? And their mom was an addict. Well, one became an addict, and one was so far from it, she wouldn't even take Tylenol. She wouldn't take an ibuprofen. She would take a Tylenol because their mom was addicted to pain pills first. And it brought on this huge addiction where she spent all the money. She ruined them financially, ended up divorced from the dad because she ruined them financially. One of the children, actually two of the children, became addicts themselves, whereas the other one became so far from it that she literally could get a toothache and she's taking nothing for it. Yeah, I think when you're raised in a chaotic home or, by a parent who struggled with addiction, you develop a fear of becoming that parent. And it's common for people with her background to avoid having kids because they're scared that they'll repeat that same trauma. But here's the twist, I think, is once they do have like one child, they feel the love and the connection that they never had growing up, that fear can flip into the opposite, right? So when she had Isaac or Elliot, who now like Isaac now prefers to go by Elliot. I put up a TikTok and it was about Isaac Elliot. People was like, why are you calling him Elliot? His name is Isaac. So I had to explain. So Isaac prefers to go by Elliot. But I think when she had him and she felt that love and connection that she never felt, then it kind of flipped her into the opposite. Suddenly she maybe even subconsciously wanted kids. She wanted the chaos, the full house, to make sure Isaac had siblings so he would never feel alone. She basically created the environment for her kids that she never had as a child. So Kail basically went from like not wanting to have kids to having seven because maybe deep down, and it wasn't even something that maybe she consciously thought of, but like subconsciously, like she didn't want to be alone. She didn't want her kids to feel the loneliness that she felt growing up. Which is why to me it's like always kind of made sense that this is where she went. She went a ton of kids, a ton of partners. I mean, she grew up without healthy role models. And basically, when that happens, it affects your relationships into adulthood. She never got the love and attention from her parents. So she craved it as she grew up, craved it from Joe, craved it from Javi. She grew up basically, or when kids grow up feeling unloved, they often attach quickly. I actually know somebody right now. Me and my son was just talking about it last night. Me and my 18-year-old, we know a little girl who attaches so quickly, and it's kind of like Janelle's daughter, Inslee. She attaches very quickly. When people come into Janelle's life, she is, wanting to hug them immediately, sit on their lap, I love you immediately, because Janelle doesn't show her the attention. Quite frankly, that's what it is, in my opinion. Janelle doesn't show her the attention. So Kail didn't get the attention when she grew up. She grew up feeling unloved, so she attaches quickly to people, even if the relationship's like unstable. She romanticizes situations because she never saw a healthy relationship. She don't know how to pick safe, stable partners because she never seen that. She never seen, she didn't see her mom picking safe, stable partners. And I think once she had like her first child, she wanted so badly to create opposite of what like her mom had that it overpowered like any logical thinking that she may have had. She said on the podcast that she just wanted to be loved. She wanted to be a wife. She wanted to have a family. So she had her kids close together so they would always have a little friend like Isaac and Lincoln, or Elliot and Lincoln are close. So I think her childhood has affected her adulthood so much. She subconsciously feared like abandonment for herself, for her kids. So she kept creating the family that she wished existed for her. More kids equals more love for her, more love for them, more connection, less loneliness. But what she don't realize is by not saying, and she's seeking partners, she's avoiding all the red flags because I mean, hell, her whole life was a red flag growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like her whole life was a big red flag. She didn't really get to see eh, what she should be looking for in a man. So she just sought out love in anybody. It was very unstable. But unfortunately, this affects her kids. Um, because we all know kids need stability, different men in and out, relationships starting and ending. that creates, well, it's not stable. It creates insecurity. Kids compare their experiences. Like some dads are present, some aren't. That can create jealousy and confusion between the siblings. Kids learn patterns. Just like Kail repeated her mom's like instability in a different form, her kids could repeat hers. So I'm glad that Kail's like, I mean, gosh, she's seeing it now when it's kind of late in the game, 7 kids, but we could eventually see like how their childhood impacts them in adulthood. This could create attachment issues for all the kids because even when if you start with Elliot, right? Elliot saw his mom and dad were not together. He got super attached to Javi. Javi leaves. Then Chris comes into the picture, and Kayla has talked about how all the kids really liked Chris. Then Chris leaves, and then Elijah comes into the picture, and he lives with them, and he has kids with Kayla, and then Elijah leaves, and now Isaac is there living with them. So all these father figures just coming and going can create abandonment issues for all these kids. Older kids tend to have to take on more responsibility. In big blended families, older kids often become the helpers because the adults are overwhelmed. And I feel like, Elliot probably is a great big help. But I mean, we see it, think of like the Duggars and like Cody Brown and all of them. Like we see their older kids were basically like little wives. They were tending to the kids and cleaning and brushing hair and making sure kids brush their teeth because mom had too many kids to really pay attention to each one. So the older kids become helpers and they have to take on responsibility that really wasn't even meant for them. So I'm glad that she's finally becoming self aware as to this as being a problem. But at this point, she has 7 kids. She has 7 kids. She's recognized the issue, so she can do differently. But has it already caused an issue? Probably. But yeah, what do you guys think? I don't know. That's why I've always felt bad for Kail in the regard that I understood why she turned out the way that she did because of her childhood. I was always like, well, I get it. She was the only child. She wanted to make sure that she always had somebody to love her. And then when she started having kids, she wanted to make sure they always had at least 1 or 2 siblings to love each other. So it makes sense. But I'm like, at the end of the day, man, it affected her so bad. Like, really, Kail should have started in some like intensive therapy, probably at 16 years old. When she got pregnant, she probably should have started therapy immediately so she could not go overboard in the way that she did. But yeah, I guess it's cool. It's good that, or maybe I don't know if her kids are in therapy, but if they're not, it would be good for them to get in therapy just in case they are dealing with like abandonment issues or any issues that could come from the in and out, the everything that's kind of went on in their life. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the thing, Kim. Yeah. Congratulations on that. Um, yes. Javi called her out like 2 months or so ago. Yeah, Kail's mom didn't even parent her. That's true. That's why I give her so much like people give Kail hell. But I'm like, she had no example to go off of. The kid raised herself. And then to build what she's built, to build the empire that she's built, her kids, like she raises them financially, they are okay. They have each other. While yes, they're going to have trauma from everything else, you can't really escape trauma. Hopefully, she can just have them in the therapy that they need to be in to deal with the trauma that's come from everything. But dude, at the end of the day, like Kail literally at like 8 years old was getting herself ready for school. Her mom would forget to come pick her up and she would like walk home and she would have to go to the neighbor's house after 2 or 3 days of her mom not being there to go get food, and she would have to lie to the teachers when the teachers would question her about things because she didn't want her mom to get in trouble. And then come to find out, she thought her dad just didn't want to be a part of her life. Come to find out her mom lied to her. Her dad wanted her. Her dad tried to get custody of her. Her dad wrote letters, and Kail never knew any of these things. Kail just thought her dad did not care. Come to find out, when her dad left, he took Kail. And then the police got involved, and Kail's mom was like, if you don't give Kail back, you're going to be arrested. and told him that there was a restraining order against him, that he could not come within so many feet of Kail. So he stayed away because he didn't have the money to fight Susie. And this was all lies that Kail did not find out about until right before her dad passed away not too long ago. And to be quite honest, they all do seem like great kids. I mean, that's another thing. They do seem like great kids, you know. Same, Amber. I am big on that too. I am so big on that too because as someone that was SA'd as a child, and so many, almost everybody I know was SA'd as a kid, from people brought into the home, relatives brought into the home. So that is definitely something because, from my understanding, her boyfriend Isaac lives there, and I'm like, and her boyfriend Isaac moved in like fairly quickly. And I'm just like, "Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that." Sunflower says, I think God's the best underdog story out of the team on Cash. She came from nothing to build something for herself. See, that's kind of the way that I feel. I'm not saying she's correct in everything that she did, but I do, yeah. Anyways, you guys, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. I went on for way too long now, so I'm probably going to edit this video down. But leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Kail is seemingly taking accountability, saying she has created 4 broken homes for her kids. She is feeling the effects of it now as they get older. So that she knows now she can maybe try to stop it. She can't have any more kids, so that's good that she can't have any more kids. At least with this new guy that's living with her, there is hopefully she won't bring any more kids into that. Now she has talked before about like adopting, but hopefully no, she just needs to focus on the kids that she has, in my opinion. You guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below, and make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and come back and hype me up if you do remember. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.